Brand new video. Today I'm gonna talk about the newly released cards of the upcoming expansion One Night in Kazakhstan. And yeah, this is the first card that was released, and yeah, it is video. Today I'm gonna talk about there is echo in the background. Anyways, so let me fix that quickly. So it's a kind of anticlimactic one because there's not too much to talk about the card in specific, because it doesn't have an effect, but it might have quite the impact because yeah, power creep is the word, and it is the most important mana slot for power creep always, because changing one mana cost minions can change the meta completely. It can shift it to a completely aggressive meta always. So it is a 1 mana 2/2 beast enchanted raven. I always like to compare those cards to existing cards. So it is a beast type, so it pushes the beast team of druid. It is a druid card, so 1 mana 2/2 beast for druid. Beast druid is super weak right now, and whenever they implemented new beast cards, it basically had no impact on the beast druid. Beast druid still sucked, but they also removed now quite a few beast synergy cards with the rotation after standard was released. So yeah, but they implemented Mark of Ishara. It can buff any minion, but if it buffs a beast, you give it +2/+2 and you draw a card. So it has great synergy with that. The most popular druid deck that is played right now is York Druid / Token Druid, so it can fit in that deck as well, I would say. This is kind of hilarious that my Hearthstone opens on the second screen. So yeah, what can we compare this card to? We can compare it to Firebat. Firebat is a 2/1 for 1 that has a death rattle effect, deal 1 damage to a random target. And Firebat is, in my opinion, a really powerful 1-drop, even though it has a random effect that has a random chance to affect the board state, so that kinda, yeah, sucks, but it is what it is. So a 1 mana 2/2 seems pretty powerful. The current neutral, the strongest neutral one mana beast would be Boar, I believe, and that would be a 1 mana 1/1 charge beast, so you get 1+1/+1 more stats, and you lose the charge effect. So I would rather have a 1 mana 2/2 beast than a 1 mana 1/1 charger. So it's a very powerful 1-drop, and it might not see, I mean, people will definitely test this card because it is a strong card. Yeah, strong archetype, not sure if it's strong for druid. It has synergy also with the new card we will see later. There's like a mech that gives you a beast, a dragon, and a beast, dragon, and a murloc to your hand. And because you cannot draw Druid of the Claw, because it's like it is only a beast, or it transforms into a beast after you play the card, so it is not a beast in your deck or in its original form. So there's not too many beasts you play in Druid right now, and you might just add some enchanted ravens because you play the new mech. I can show it actually, because you can play this guy instead of Angel of Law, for example. It's a 7 mana for 6, basically same stats as Ancient of Law, but it draws you a beast, dragon, and murloc, and you already play Azudrakes, always core in Druid, and you don't run any murlocs. But I was thinking about it, if you just draw 2 cards, it should be already fine. And to You can also maybe run those ravens in a defensive druid deck. I don't know. Like, it doesn't have the same stats as Zombie Chow, but it is still. It doesn't have the drawback of giving the opponent 5 lives, so you lose 1 point of stat. But a 2/3 minion was really good in terms of stats, and the heal drawback usually didn't matter. But in druid, it might. I would consider even playing this in a ramp druid deck. Like, I really don't like playing Nourish, for example, but you need to run this additional card draw because you don't have Ancient of Law anymore. And if you just draw 2 good cards, it is similar, very similar to Ancient of Law. And then let's say we run those 1-drops as an anti-aggro tag instead of Zombie Chow, and then we draw. I mean, we don't really want to draw the Zombie Chow in late game, but we cycle it out basically. So we draw better cards. If we play this card, we cycle out our remaining 1-drops. Let's say we draw 1/1-drop in the turn 1, but we run 2 1-drops, and then with this we cycle out the second 1-drop, so we only draw high threats. That's not bad. And the dragon and Azure Drake. If you would always draw an Azure Drake from this card, that would be sick when you think about it. I mean, this would be the case if you just run double Azure Drake, but maybe we would also run an additional dragon like Deathwing or whatever. Just like to not just because if you drew the Azure Drakes and stuff earlier, then we don't have anything to draw from this, so it would just be a 4/6, which is bad. So worst case scenario, we draw 1 card and it would be like Ancient of Lore. But I mean, very worst case scenario would be we don't draw anything. But yeah, I don't want to just. I mean, I talked about this card now already too much, even though I was just rambling about this Enchanted Raven. So yeah, Beast archetype gets more important. I don't know what cards they implement on top of this, but yeah, Power Creep, nice Power Creep. I think it can potentially be played in a control deck as well. Together with Living Roots, I can see Token Druid, just a raw Token Druid coming back. Let's see what Jackie Chan comes up with. Yeah, this into Living Roots into Innovate Power of the Wild seems like a good play. Yeah, but it can potentially be played in a Beast Druid and also maybe in a Control / Ram Druid. So the Hunter card is Kindly Grandmother. I was thinking about this card a lot. It is very slow. Because you don't want to play a 1/1 on turn 2. But when you compare this to Haunted Creeper was staple in so many decks. Like we saw it played in Secret Paladin, in Zoo, Hunter, and you always love drawing this card. So compared to Haunted Creeper, this just has 1 less health, which is a big deal. Like to kill a Haunted Creeper was much harder than to kill this. You cannot just like ping it off or something. Like a Haunted Creeper sticked on the board. But what you get from the Death Rattle minion, 2 1/1s from the Death Rattle, was much worse than, in my opinion, than a 3/2. I think a 3/2 is much better than 2 1/1s. So the Death Rattle effect is much stronger, but you lose 1 health. But on top of it, the big bad wolf you get is also a beast, and the Spiderlings were no beast. So this should be stronger than Hunter Creeper. And if this is stronger than Hunter Creeper, it is absolutely core in every single Hunter deck. Like you would play this in an Enzo of Hunter deck, you would play this in a normal Hunter deck, in an aggro, every single Hunter deck. And we have those cards like the Huhuran. It might make Huhuran stronger. Hunter is already playable, so and this is a big buff for Hunter. And it might make Hunter great again, because Hunter is definitely struggling with the 2-drops, and this is just basically what Hunter needed. Insane card. Okay, 2 mage cards. Bubbling Book. I've seen some people say this card is bad. Because, okay, the argumentation why this card should be bad is you play a 1 mana 1/1, right? And you get a random mage spell. And then the argumentation is, why not just play a specific mage spell instead of this card, right? So why gamble and get some bad mage spell like Dragon Breath when we can just play arcane missiles instead for 1 mana. But the argumentation for this card being really good is you get 1 mana, you get 1/1 stats for 1 mana for free, basically. And you always, like every class basically lacks 1-drops except Zoo. Zoo has plenty of them. Zoo has in fact too many of them. A lot of people are start cutting 1-drops, like Agent Squire. And I think having, I don't know how good for a mage 1/1 stats, free 1/1 stats on the board are. I mean, it is tempo, it is something to play on turn 1. You get a random spell. Yes, this random spell can be a good spell, like an additional Frostbolt, which is insane if you get one. But you can also get a bad spell, compared to Spellbender. But not really, right? Because you get a random mage spell, and a random mage spell is on average better than a random spell. So it is basically Book of Kabbalist Tome with just getting 1 spell, 1 random spell. But this could be like a Frost Barrier. So if you play Babbling Book and you get the Frost Barrier, that's super bad. And how good are 1/1 stats for 1 mana are? Like, would you ever play a 1 mana 1/1 minion? Never. Like, ever. Like, it's not even an Agent Squire or something. It is just a possessed villager without Death Rattle minion. An Agent Squire without it, like a 1. I don't even think that even for Tempo Mage, I mean, it gives you something to do on turn 1, but you don't mind, if you play a lot of Tempo Mage, you don't mind passing your turn. Right? A lot of Tempo Mages, if you play against control decks, you just pass your turns, right? I mean, you can get something insane from this card, the outvalues, but it is random. People might get just too many bad spells from this card and then they decide to cut it because it's not worth to get the 1/1 stats. And I think there's not too many cards you can cut in Tempo Mage. Tempo Mage already plays a lot of good cards. But you might actually play this instead of Arcane Intellect, right? I can see that. So you have more consistent early game drops. I wouldn't say like right now this would be like auto include, but it is. I mean, the value is good, obviously, but I don't know. The word randomness is kind of scary. If this would be discovered, this would be nuts, right? But you can see that, yeah, you can just get something bad and then you would absolutely not be happy with this card. Obviously you can get something good, but then again you could just play this card in your deck. And then it really comes down to how good is it to play a 1 mana 1/1 on turn 1. I mean, you can play this and then ping off a minion on turn 2, but is this how you want to play a Tempo Mage? I'm not so sure. Mana Worm is insane because it snowballs, and it has much better stats, obviously. Not sure if this is like auto-include yet. So, but Firelands Portal, I think this card is really good. Deal 5 damage, summon a random 5-cost minion for 7 mana. So an average 5-cost minion is probably worth like 4.5 mana, something like that. It's definitely like under its regular cost, sort of bad ones. Deal 5 damage is worth almost like 4 mana. So yeah, you pay like 3.5 mana more. No, you pay 2.5 mana more to deal 5 damage. That's insane. Okay, the value of this card is ridiculous. It like if you're behind on board, it just basically gives you counter tempo instantly. It doesn't just remove something, but this is also what the game was lacking, sort of. This is what made removal cards kind of meh in control decks, because you just keep removing a minion and the opponent just keeps replaying minion. This is why playing a proactive curve deck was always stronger than playing a reactive deck. So this is why Priest sucks, basically, why we only see it 1% of the time on the ladder. Like, I play my gang boss, you play Shadow of Pain. I play my councilman, you have a second Shadow of Pain. I play my third gang boss and you don't have a Shadow of Pain anymore. You know, you had to be lucky to get those 2 pains. So just playing a minion is always stronger than just reacting. But with this card, we can remove the opponent's minion and play our own minion at the same time, which is ridiculous. And the value is really good. So this is what is also important for control decks. And right now, tempo mages are playing double flame strike, and double flame strike can't be correct, but we're just lacking good cards that we can replace flame strike with, and I think this would be definitely one of them. This can also hit the face, very important. And it is a spell for Yogg-Saron, so this card is really, really strong. So I would see this card 100% being played in Tempo Mage. And this definitely, maybe as a one-off, who knows. I think that in Tempo decks, 1 mana, 1/1 stats are not that good. Also in late game. Like playing this in the super late game, you top deck this, you play this and get a random bad spell. Not so cool. Like get an Ice Lance. Imagine you draw this turn 10, you need to, and you play this and then you draw an Ice Lance because it's a random spell, right? So don't get too hyped yet about this card. It's obviously another 1-drop, but this is definitely crazy. Paladin, Ivory Knight, Battlecry, discover a spell, restore health to your hero equal to its cost. 6 mana, it's super slow. Ivory Knight 4/4. Stats are okay, much better than Healbot, 1 more mana than Healbot, potentially more heal than Healbot, and we get that card. So compared to Healbot, much better than Healbot. We can choose how much we heal, so we don't overheal. You don't want to play Healbot and overheal for 5, right? But you cannot choose it because it's a flat amount. Healbot was played in almost every single control deck to counter aggressive decks and Freeze Mage. So with this card, you can choose what spell we get, how much we heal, and it has decent stats for a heal card. So, but what most people... Oh man, I have to open this chest. 1 sec. Yeah, cool cards. I think what people kind of forget is that I think that most Paladin spells right now are 1 mana. Paladin still has plenty of secrets. But with this Discover we can always choose. I mean, someone will do the maths, if not me myself. Like Forbidden Healing is 0 mana, then we have Blessing of Might, Competitive Spirit. Maybe I can pull this up quickly. You can see here, those spells would all be bad. This would just be 1 heal. Yeah, a lot of 1 mana spells. There's actually a pretty decent chance to like get like really bad stuff. A lot of those spells are 1 mana. This is 2 mana. Quality is a great card. You can pick up. Obviously, you can pick up a great card, but usually when you play a heal minion, you kind of want to heal, right? But depends on how many spells. I mean, you can pick up another heal. You can just heal for 2 and pick up Holy Light, and then heal again. I mean, that's pretty nuts. I mean, that's usually bad in control decks. You would see this card only being played in any control deck. Yeah, an additional consecration is usually, I mean, yeah. Oh, people always look at anything can happen, anything can happen. To be honest, the chance to get anything can happen is probably like 8% or lower. Depends on how many spells there are, right? To sell it. For a druid, for example, to pick up a specific spell is the chance is 12.5%. I don't know how many paladin spells there are. So, but I think the spells that heal the most are Lay on Hands and Anything Can Happen. But the chance to get those seems to be very slim, because most spells cost 1 mana. So it is not a consistent enough heal card, I think. I mean, people, it's hard to say on the first glance how good this card is, right? First, when you do like some analysis, then you suddenly realize, oh, I get 1 mana spells all the time, and then I always heal for 1, so that's pretty bad. And then people come to a quick conclusion, this card is super bad. But yeah, you can pick up some high quality cards like Quality Consecration. But Paladin is really bad right now, and Paladin leads a big push, and what Paladin is lacking the most, it's not good heal cards or something. Paladin has great healing. The problem Paladin has right now is dealing with early game aggression and stabilization, and this card, I don't know, it's too slow. Like, Paladin already runs great 6 drops. Ends of Paladin is the strongest Paladin version. You would run Sylvanas Cairn in this deck, and you have Forbidden Healing as heal, Ragnar's the Light Lord. But you have no 1-drops, no 2-drops, no 3-drops, and this is what Paladin is really lacking. So it's like one of those cases where you give Paladin a great card, but Paladin still sucks. So you will not see this card being played. Kinda the same as Edric the Pure. Edric the Pure is good, but the meta is really not fitting for the card, so you don't see it being played. So it's probably a decent card. If the meta would be super slow, this card would be insane, because you get an additional quality, an additional card from outer space, how I like to call it, for free, and you will get like 4 stats on a minion for free on top of it. It's like 2 cards in 1 card, and healing. So, but we don't have a control meta. The only control deck we see right now is Khetoon Warrior. So next card is Rogue. Ethereal Peddler. Reduce the cost of cards in your hand from other classes by 2. So yeah, the only 2 cards that give you cards from the opponent are 3 cards. Huckster, Burgle, and Yogg-Saron. You can play Yogg-Saron in Rogue. You can imagine you just get a full hand from Yogg, and then you reduce everything by 2. GG. But anyways, the stats, 5 mana, 5/6 is pretty solid. Rogue got a lot of minions with super good stats, but they're all unplayable, which blows my mind. There's cards like the Galvanix, Prince Galvanix, which is crazy in my opinion, but it's unplayable. So this might be another card. It has worse stats than the other crazy Rogue cards with high stats, and the effect is much worse. It's basically Huckster is the only card besides Yogg, and Yogg is just like a dream scenario if you get cards from other classes. But Huckster always gives you a card from other class, and oftentimes it's just something cheap, so you don't even want to reduce it by 2. It's a terrible effect, so it's a terrible card. You will not see this card being played. Let's be honest. There's so many good cards you want to play in Rogue right now. I mean, like, just compared to the 4-drop, the definitely 4-drop, that card is crazy, man, and people still almost don't play it. That is kinda nuts for me. People play like Valor Teacher instead, like Xerael Poison Mind. When the card was released, Xerael Poison Mind, people went nuts, man. What? 2 spells, Battlecry and Death Rattle, and this card has even synergy with your Ends of the Corruptor. But people still kinda, a lot of people don't run the card anymore. They run Violet Teacher instead. So, and that is like a crazy card when you look at it. So this card will not being played. So the Warlock card, Malkezar's Imp, is a 1 mana demon. Whenever you discard a card, draw a card. Insane card. A 1 mana 1/3 is not the best, obviously, because it can be dealt with by a lot of things, and it's not a lot of pressure on the board, but it's definitely good. You would definitely run the stats in a zoo deck. We might even cut Squires or something for this. Anyways, you will find room in a zoo deck, and the effect is really good. Right now, the optimal zoo version runs double Doomguard and one Soulfire, and this card would just fit perfectly in the current zoo deck. So, an insane card, and yeah, it will definitely keep zoo deck as a competitive deck. Might even just be the strongest deck, we will see. Card is really nuts in together with Soulfire. You might even run double Soulfire. Maybe you transition into double Soulfire One card decks or something like that. I mean, if you have two Malakazar's Imps on the board and you play Soulfire, you draw 2 cards. So you get value from playing Soulfire and you kill a big minion. Obviously the power on the board is not that big, but as compared to White Walker, you would always still run White Walkers in your zoo deck. You just cut some, maybe one possessed villager or one squire for those. You will find room in a zoo deck for sure. It's a really good card. Okay, the neutral minions. The creator was already talking about this earlier, that it kinda is like an Ancient of Lore in Druid. You might have some problems finding a good beast to play, but maybe Druid would even come up with some crazy stuff like run 1 tiger. I don't think so, but maybe you play like an aggressive Druid and then add tigers in the deck. The problem of the tiger token Druid was that you just run out of cards, and this card just might help you. It has to be a very creative list, but I can definitely see it. If you can always get the Zidrex from this card, it's pretty good. In Dragon Warrior, you run all of those types. You run the Finlay as a Murloc, you run a lot of dragons as dragons, and you run the monkeys, the taunt as a taunt, basically as a free drop. And it would be pretty nice actually to find the Finlay. I don't think it's a bad card to guaranteely get. It just increases your draws as well, and it refreshes your hand. I think this card would be nuts, borderline nuts in Dragon Warrior. You get a free taunt, like you can build like a very early curve heavy, even early curve heavier deck, make double monkey core, Finlay's core. You play so many good dragons. Draw freaking free cards. You play already the curve, the opponent can't deal with it. The way how control decks beat is they just run out of steam, you know? And then you survive with almost no life. And the deck currently doesn't run 7 drops besides Malkorok, and people already cut Malkorok. So this would be an insane 7 drop for Dragon Warrior. Even I would be running Dragon Warrior then, I think. It's a ridiculous card. And then maybe some in decks like maybe Paladin. Then you would run a Zodrex now and stuff, I don't know. Murloc Paladin, it's pretty good to Murloc Paladin. I mean, it's definitely a sick card, and you will see a lot of decks around this card. And people will try it. It's kind of like a Reno when you think about it, right? It's great that they implement cards like that where you have to build a deck around to make the card great. I mean, if you build a deck around Reno, Reno is insane, and it's the same with this card. If you somehow fit beasts, dragons, and Murlocs in your deck, this card is ridiculous. Barnes. Summon a 1/1 copy of a random minion in your deck. RNG Clown Fiesta. You get something crazy like, imagine a cairn. You pull out a cairn. You have a 3/4 and basically a 4/5 just randomly from your deck. Hello, my friend. And 4 mana you can play this in any deck. Like, it is not like, it is a big difference to actually playing a cairn on turn 6. Playing a cairn on turn 6 is usually too slow because every aggro deck kills you, or early curve mid-range deck, how you wanna call it, kills you turn 7, turn 6. turn 8, but turn 4, if you play this, you can just roll the dice, man. There's way too many good things you can get. You can get Divine Shield taunts, like Master Jouster. No, you would not get the Master Jouster taunt. But you can get your rune, stuff like that, right? You get a freaking free Ashbringer on turn 4. I mean, how do you come back from that? Card is ridiculous. It's gonna ruin the game even more. But yeah. You would not see this in an aggressive deck. Would you not? I mean, if you play this and you get a Flame Imp on turn 4, that's pretty nuts. I mean, it's just the 1/1, right? But what else can you get? You can get Possessed Villager. 3/4 plus a 1/1 Possessed Villager. You can get a Baby Doomguard. You can get in a zoo deck. What can you get in a zoo deck that works this card? Is this nuts in a zoo deck? Gang Boss is probably the best one for sure. Okay, I mean, Squire stuff, I think this would be too weak. Yeah, Dark Iron Dwarf is just better than this. So we would not see it in aggressive decks. 1/1 Tunnel Truck. I mean, at least it is a control card, so that's good, right? To hardcorely push control cards. Good that this is not good in Shaman. If this would be good in Shaman, this would be stupid. Shaman has already Tunnel Truck, so I mean, this card actually might be good, because it pushes like control decks. And weaker. Control decks of weaker classes. And they need something broken. So this might be a good thing. I mean, yeah. Like Shaman, if Shaman puts like a Fire Elemental or a 1/1 thing from below, who cares? 1 mana. Yeah. Flame Brief, something like that. All bad cards. Shaman doesn't have too crazy things. So this would be bad in Shaman, which is a good thing. I think this is definitely a good thing. It's not good in Zoo, so that's another good thing. It can be super sick in Hunter. You get high mans, a 1 mana high man, that would be ridiculous. Hunter might be super insane. Yeah, if you get the 2-drop, if you pull the new 2-drop as well, it is already basically a 1/1, and you get a free 2. Yeah, in Hunter this seems to be very good. Even if you just get like a Fire Bat. There's almost no bad ones you would get from a Hunter. Houndmaster. If you get the Infested Wolf. Insane. Call of the Wild is a spell. This just seems to have such insane synergy with Hunter. It doesn't look like it on first sight, but this might be a Hunter staple card. So you play this in Hunter, you play this in any control deck. Most control decks are Enzo based anyways. It doesn't, yeah, in Cartoon decks this doesn't do. I think if you summon a 1/1 Cartoon, Cartoon gets the buffs. Nah, I'm pretty sure if you summon a Cartoon, it is a 1/1. Because if you Aldo or a Cartoon, it has 1 attack, but you can rebuff it afterwards. Or maybe it will have 1/1 base stats instead of 6/6 base stats and then get buffed. But who knows. Anyways, it's gonna be a super insanely strong card. I look forward to play this. Like, turn Wild Growth into Barnes, into pulling in Aviana, because it is a battle cry. It's not at the end of the turn. Maybe this should be at the end of the turn. Maybe like if this would be broken, please instantly fix it to make it end of the turn to pull a minion out of the deck. Because then, otherwise I play Wild Growth into this, into Aviana, and then play Innovate, double Ancient of War, GG. Turn 2, double Ancient of War, Aviana, Barnes on the board. Good luck, have fun. Morose. 3 mana, 1/1, stealth. Doesn't matter because just any whirlwind effect just kills it. At the end of your turn, summon a 1/1 steward. That doesn't have stealth, I guess. It's bad. It's a legendary as well. Rook struggles with survival. People will just kill Rook when you play this card. Bookworm, it's a big dragon, good stuff. Always nice to have dragons. 6 mana, 3/6. 3/6 is like worth 4 mana or something like that. If you're holding a dragon, destroy an enemy minion with 3 attack or less. It's like Shadowed Pain plus a 3/6 dragon. Twilight Guardian is a 3/6 dragon for 4 mana, so you pay 2 mana to have Shadowed Pain. It's a good card, it's a book, it has the dragon archetype. You don't have many playable dragon 6 drops, only the stupid 6/6 one that I really don't like. What's the name of? Draconic Crusher. Don't like this card, especially in a control deck. So yeah, we have a defensive dragon, I really like it. Doesn't seem broken, just seems to be a decent card. So yeah, those are the cards. I'm looking forward to the expansion, and I mean, so far every card is playable, so that's a great thing. Except, I mean, Morose and maybe this Ethereal Peddler, but it is not like just super bad. It is just probably not being played, and because of the meta being too fast. Hope you guys like my review, and I'm really looking forward to the next cards that are gonna be revealed.